Hi Year 5 and welcome to Wednesday's English lesson. We're carrying on with instructions today, and today we're going to use a rhetorical question in your introduction, and then we're going to use a colon to introduce a list. How are we going to do this? Well, that's what I'm here to explain. Today we're going to start to write our instructions. So first of all, pause the video, get a piece of paper and set it out just like I've done on the screen with the date and the ICANN and then the title from your mind map. How to create the perfect dream for a boy or girl who loves dancing, who likes football, who is passionate about space. Okay, so choose your title, pause the video, set your paper out like I have done on the screen. Okay, well done. Now we need a short introduction for our instructions. We have to make it clear who the dream is aimed at, okay, and what their interests are. Furthermore, it must sound exciting and it has to persuade the reader to use the recipe. So follow these instructions to create a dream fit for any child who loves adventure and danger. This is very similar to the openings that we wrote last week. But how could we make this engage the reader more and want to use the dream recipe? What about starting with a rhetorical question? I'm sure you could see where I was leading to. So what about if I added, do you know a child who loves adventure and danger? Follow these instructions to create a dream fit for any child who loves adventure and danger. Now I've repeated adventure and danger here, so you might think about how you could replace this here with a different phrase to make that read even better. And I was thinking you could start, do you know a child who loves adventure and danger? If so, follow these instructions to create a dream fit for any child who loves a bit of danger, yeah, or a bit of excitement. Okay, now pause the video again and have a go at writing your introduction to your instructions. I bet you can do a better job than I have. Off you go. Okay, welcome back. So we've now got our title, we've got a brief introduction. So the next thing's going to be to write our list of equipment and things we need. But before we do that, I want to have a little look at colons. So before we start, I'm just going to play you a clip from the Colon song. Listen up.
Has anyone seen my colon? Oops, better explain. Use a colon if you want to organize. Make a list or use them just to clarify. A statement, then a colon, then the commas fly. My, oh my, oh my, my, oh my.
For example,
here's a list of many punctuation parts. Commas, hyphens, dashes, and quotation marks. First you write the colon, then the list just starts. My, oh my, I do organize. Get rolling. We're strolling. Put soul in. The colon. So make a list of items. Organization's fun. Or you can clarify them. A colon is how it's done.
So hopefully that gave you a little bit of a clue and a fun way as to what a colon's used for. They are used to introduce a list. To use them, the clause before the colon, the clause must make sense on its own. So, for example, this phrase can use a colon. Before programming the T2Me version 2, you must decide on a number of things. Now that makes sense by itself, so I can use a colon to introduce what things you must decide on, so which type of tea, whether you want milk, and how much sugar you require. However, let's look at this example where a colon can't be used. Key features of the T2Me version 2 include a rechargeable battery, large water tank, washing up capability, and remote ordering. You don't need a colon here because the list just flows on from include. Key features of the T2Me version 2 include doesn't make sense on its own. Include what? Well, it goes straight into the list. You don't need any punctuation there and you don't need a colon. Okay, so now we know how to use a colon, let's have a look at these few little examples. So a colon might also be used to introduce a series of bullet points because that's still a list. So here we've got, this is the recommended kit list for the camping trip, : colon. Tent, camp stove, sleeping bag, food, dry clothes. So if you want to use bullet points in your list today, you can still use a colon to introduce them. You just need to make sure that this bit makes sense by itself. Now the tricky bit. A colon is not always needed to introduce a list, and this means that you have to make a decision when you're writing a list about whether it actually needs a colon or not. And that is a difficult decision, but the key thing to think about is, does the bit before the sentence or the phrase before make sense by itself? And if it does, then you need a colon. So which list needs a colon? The children can choose from a range of activities: tennis, orienteering, or swimming. The children can choose whether to play tennis, go orienteering, or have a swim. Now in this case, the children can choose from a range of activities. That makes sense by itself, so we can use a colon. Here it is: tennis, orienteering, or swimming. Now in this one, the children can choose whether to play tennis, go orienteering, or have a swim. The children can choose whether to doesn't make sense on its own. Play tennis, go orienteering, or have a swim. You don't need any punctuation after to. The children can choose whether to play tennis, go orienteering, or have a swim. So you don't need a colon in this one. So, as it says here, sentence A needed a colon because the phrase before the list made sense by itself on its own. So I want you to think about what phrase could you use to introduce your list of ingredients for your dream. Have a little think. Maybe write out 1 or 2 sentences or phrases and see which one you think would work best. And then once you've done that, you're going to write your list of ingredients. So you need to use your introductory phrase, which ends with a colon. And then you need to make sure you include quantities, the amount of each ingredient. And I want you to include as many different ingredient measurements as you can. Now we went through quite a few before, so you might want to go back to that list, but I've put a few here: handful, fistful, dollop, pinch, slice, sprinkling, dash, teaspoon, tablespoon, gallon, pint, splatter. See what you can come up with. Maybe ask some of the adults around and see if they can come up with some good ones too, particularly if they're into cookery, then they might come up with some great ideas, and see if you can put some different ones in. I look forward to reading them. And don't forget, you can use bullet points to set out your list, or you can separate all the items in the list using commas. Remember how that works. Okay, take care. Mrs. Roberts and Miss Bridges, Miss Dawes and Miss Morgan and myself look forward to seeing your writing. So don't forget, keep writing and using your best handwriting and thinking about how you lay out your work. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye.